Awesome. Okay, so welcome. We have more folks joining in now. Welcome to our session on supporting girls in Java. This is with CSAwesome. This is a 45-minute workshop, and we're hoping it will be hands-on and interactive. And we can share the link to the slides with you in the chat. If you have trouble accessing those, just let us know and we can make sure you get access. So an overview of what we're going to do today, we're doing a quick welcome with introductions, a little introductory activity that is going to happen. We'll have a discussion on strategies for supporting females in computer science. We'll show you a demo on CSAwesome and what that is. And then we'll do a hands-on activity where you can program in Java using some of the CSAwesome materials in our free interactive ebook. I'll also share at the end, if we have time, some opportunities for students and teachers that we have available. So I wanted to get us started as folks are joining in. We want to invite you to come into our Java daycare and spa. And this is how we're going to introduce ourselves. So there's a link to the Padlet in the chat. If you open up the Padlet, we invite you to join in to the daycare and spa and add either yourself, a child, or a pet, someone that you care for and that you would care for into our Padlet. And you're going to follow the template post where you're going to fill it in according to the sort of parameters that are there. You're going to click the plus sign to add a new post to the Padlet. And just for reference, this Padlet is based on what is called the Java Zoo activity by one of our CSAwesome teachers and facilitators, Lisa Ferran, who typically does this activity with her students and has them create a zoo of animals in Java and declaring them in Java. So we're going to give you a couple minutes here as people join in. Go ahead and open up the Padlet. And let's see if I can open it up too. And I think mine is already up here to get us started.
I added mine this morning.
Awesome. Thanks, Meryl. So I am up there. You can see just as a little explanation of how this works. There's a template post where you give the post a class name. So we use classes in Java. So in this case, you are either putting in a person or a pet. You're going to describe some attributes about the object that you're creating. So you're going to give a name, favorite food, number of legs, average hours of sleep. You're going to describe some behaviors. What are some things that you or that person or pet that you're writing about? What do they do? If you have time, add your reason for being here with us today. We would love to know. And then make sure if you get a chance to put a picture in, we would love to have you share a picture. Does anyone need help accessing the Padlet? Perfect. So we'll give it a moment here for you to populate your introductions.
And those of you who haven't programmed before, a parentheses after something like a behavior is usually that's a function that you call in programming. And the parentheses are any parameters that you would give to it. Any data it needs to do its job, you would put inside the parentheses. So that's why we have parentheses in our behaviors like work.
Should we go ahead and introduce
ourselves while people are working on this?
We're just going to transition. So yeah, just in the interest of time, we want you to keep working and posting your introductions. We're going to check back to that Padlet in just a moment there. But we wanted to share who we are. So since I guess I'm here talking already, hello everyone, I am Pauline Lake. I am the Curriculum and PD Coordinator for the National Center for Computer Science Education. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I identify as biracial, Black, and white. My background is in computer science, education, and public policy. And I first got started in CS with using MIT's App Inventor to create mobile apps. And that was over 12 years ago. And it's been a wonderful journey as I've been serving in different capacities of being mentor, being a facilitator, teaching, very different capacities with supporting females in CS. I'm going to hand it over to Beryl.
Welcome, everybody. So I'm Beryl Hoffman. I'm a professor of computer science at Elms College, which is in Western Massachusetts. It's a very small liberal arts college, and I'm actually the co-chair of our natural sciences, technology, and math division there. So we're kind of a combined all the sciences together. So if you have a science background, I'm starting to learn more about all the sciences in our division. I'm also the CSAwesome co-author that we're going to talk about today. So that's an ebook that is for computer science and Java, as well as being involved in other educational computer science work with Pauline for years and in general. Nice to meet all of you.
Awesome. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to make sure we check out our Padlet. Oops.
We got one.
Oops, it closed on me. Here we go. Oh, yay. Okay, so who do we have here? Is it Aika?
You got it right.
Yay. All right. Nice to have you here. Favorite food, roasted Brussels sprouts, 2 legs, average sleep is 6 hours. You work, you're a band mom, you're a STEAM coordinator, and you learn. And awesome. Awesome. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. Just like to introduce themselves.
Really fast.
Sure. If you would like to unmute and introduce yourself, feel free to do that.
Or you could write something in chat.
We get another one. There we go. We got Rachel. Favorite food is coffee. All right, what else we got? Number of legs is 2. Average sleep is 4. You are usually studying, doing lab work, napping. That is a good one. That is a good one. I might have to steal that one. Volunteering and going to the bar. Okay, also a good one. Pretty fun. Awesome. Welcome.
Sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to unmute myself, but thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. All right. Looks like I might need to do a new share because I think that I lost my, sorry about that. I think I lost the speaker view somehow when I opened up the Padlet. So I'm just going to stop my screen share here. And reshare. All right, I think we're back up now. All right, so we're going to move into having a little bit of a discussion. So this is where we invite you all to unmute, engage. You can also use the chat if you would like, but this is meant to be an interactive discussion on strategies in supporting females in CS. So For this one, I'm going to start in the chat, and I'd love for you to tell me what comes to mind when you hear the following. So here we go. In the chat, what comes to mind when you hear diversity challenge in CS?
I'm so sorry if this is a dumb comment, but could you explain CS? Like, what does it stand for?
Great question. I was assuming that folks would know what that is, I think. Computer science. CS is computer science. So we view computer science as being part of STEM or STEAM too. Great question. So what comes to mind when you hear diversity challenge in computer science? I see less women. Beryl, what about for you? What comes to mind?
Well, often when I'm in my classes, sometimes you see all white men around you.
Definitely. Has happened. Yep. I see some more coming in. Support and encouragement from a young age. One challenge, lessons that give examples that students may not have experienced. Another, difficulty in getting students of color to enroll in CS classes in high school. I see underrepresented groups and Black, brown kids not being encouraged. Absolutely. So these are all true. And I just wanted to make sure we took a moment to recognize that this is true in computer science, in the field of computer science in general, the workforce for computer science, in CS classes when we're thinking about the classroom. And so I'm going to share mine. I'm going to share mine with you. What comes to mind for me when I hear this is grr. Okay. I want you to keep this in the back of your mind as I go through the next couple of slides and we have our discussion, but this is my reaction when I hear that. And I see another one came in, mostly boys that enroll in CS classes. Yes, so we're echoing that again. Yes. All right, so keep grr in the back of your mind. So we know that in CS computer science, especially in computer science A, which is the Java course at the high school level, that there's a diversity challenge there. In advanced placement AP computer science A, we see that it's the second most skewed, male skewed AP exam after physics. So we know that mostly white males are taking the AP exam for CSA. Which is also tied to going on to get college credit as well. So there definitely is a diversity challenge there, less females, less students of color. And we want to make sure that we are increasing the number of females and students of color in CSA and that they are learning Java right along with their white male counterparts. So my question for you all is, does this align with what you see at your school? And when I say your school, you could answer that from the perspective of where you're currently a student or where you were a student or where you're a teacher. So school in any regard. I see a question here about explaining the chart on the right. This is just in regards to the AP scores. So the blue lines are the national passing rates for advanced placement computer science A in 2021 for those students who sat for the AP exam at the end of the school year. And the red is the CSAwesome passing rate. So students who were indicated, their teachers indicated that they used the CSAwesome curriculum, which we're going to share here today. How they did on the AP exam at the end of the year.
Pauline,
Yes.
this is Ika Johnson. This is exactly what I saw when I taught CSA at my school.
I taught at a suburban high school, predominantly Hispanic, then African American, and then Caucasian. However, in my computer science class of 32 students, there were 3 girls, maybe we had 9 Caucasian students in the class, and the rest were boys, African American and Hispanic. And I think part of what helped or could help in this type of situation is to have more diversity in instructors as well. Because a lot of times the students would come by and say, oh, you teach that class? I'm gonna see it. And so it was more because they saw me, they wanted to be in the class, or the girls who saw me wanted to be in the class. And so I think sometimes the diversity could also be included with the.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, a great point. I think that ties into like representation and role models, which we're going to share in just a bit here as well. But also, I don't want to go too far into this. I also think there's a chicken and egg type situation, right? Because we need more students to go through and study computer science and hope that they'll want to see themselves as being computer science teachers in the future and want to go into the classroom. So it's, for me, also a chicken and egg situation that's happening there with the representation. Beryl, did you have anything else to add about this slide before I move on?
Yeah, I think
We used to also show a graph of, how many females versus males take the exam, and that is also skewed, just like, so the passing rates are not as skewed, but definitely in who takes it is very skewed.
Yes. And I think there's a link there where I can share it in the chat if you want to look at more. I know Barb Erickson, who also is a co-author of CSAwesome, has her blog. So I put that link in the chat. You can see more about how she's looked at the AP exam data. Again, this is for high school level computer science A, the Java course. Okay. So just in interest of time, we're going to kind of keep the conversation going here. I did put into the slides some quick links if you're interested in diving a little bit more deeper into the research and seeing some more articles. There's lots of resources out there. If you have others, we would love to have you share them in the chat, and then I can compile them into the slides for us to go back and look at a little at a later date. But there is lots of research that is happening and lots of data that's being publicized about this. And it really is a challenge for CS that we need to address. So in regards to that, just thinking about, why is this the case? And we're seeing that there's barriers that are happening for female identifying students in CS. And this can range from them experiencing stereotypes in their classrooms or in the school in general. You may know or have been in the situation yourself as far as feeling the potential of math anxiety or feeling like there's harder grading that is happening for you. Just all around being in the feeling of being in a male dominated culture. I think computer science is still seen as being a male dominated field. And we saw in the earlier slide about the workforce as well, that is a challenge. And how do you get female identifying students to want to go into that male dominated culture, but also what do you do in order to help the males that are in that culture help support their female counterparts as well. And we also see that there's been fewer role models and lack of representation, which Ika just mentioned with us a moment ago. So in considering all of these barriers and knowing that they're there, we need to make sure that we're addressing them with some strategies. So earlier I mentioned to you GER, like my response GER. And the reason why I think that is because I think about grading and relationships as being two of the biggest practices that we can implement or strategies we can implement to help support females in CS. So when I say grading, I'm talking about equitable grading practices that we can implement as teachers and educators. But also how are we building relationships with those students? So on the right-hand side, I just put some examples. And we actually heard this morning from the panel with the Black women in STEM. Actually, some of these ideas were already presented. So I was really excited to hear from them about that. So things like making sure the classroom environment that we are teaching students in, that there's a welcoming environment that the girls want to come into, providing experiences for them, experiences them in the classroom, outside of the classroom. It could be mentoring, internship opportunities, just opportunities and experiences for them to see what the field is like. But also making sure that they have personalized learning opportunities as well. So is there an opportunity to see how what they're doing applies to what interests them? It could be related to some type of community aspect that's important to them, a personal interest that they might have. How are these opportunities being applied to what they're doing? And is it a real world experience that they're having? Also, again, role models and having that representation, connecting them with others that they can be, they can kind of see themselves in their shoes. And in terms of grading and relationships, I think growth mindset is really important. Are we teaching and kind of setting expectations for this, for the female identifying students that they can do this, that they can learn, and that are they having and promoting a growth mindset in the learning that they're having? And I think you can do that and support that along with the grading that you're doing and the relationships that you're having with them, which is through encouragement that you're giving them. How are you talking with them verbally, but also what kind of feedback are you giving to them in a written format on the work that they are submitting? So kind of thinking about what is that grading process like? Especially if you might be in a classroom where there's only one female student, what kind of feedback are you giving to them, compared to the male students in the class? So to kind of highlight all of this, again, my reaction was GER. It was my acronym to remember equitable grading and building relationships. The National Center for Computer Science Education has the Inclusive CS Teaching site, which I think we can pop that into the chat. There's some more resources and other information that you can find there on how to implement some of these. And I know we have like a careers in STEM page there as well that you can check out, so you can see more about the role models, but also how to implement some of these practices in the classroom if you're an educator. So we invite you to take a look at those, and we want to invite you to also keep these kind of strategies and practices in mind as we go through today and look at CSAwesome. I know we want to make sure you get time for a hands-on activity, but I just maybe wanted to ask here briefly, have you been in any of these scenarios before? So thinking about in the classroom, either yourself as a student or as an educator, have you ever had only one female student in an all-male class? Have you been a female teacher of an all-male class? Have you been a white male teacher of an all-male class? And or have you been a teacher of a class of all boys and one female? So I'm seeing some yeses coming in that some of you can relate to at least one of these scenarios. A question that I often get, and I think it came in the it came in the chat here. What if you have an all-male class? What can you do as a teacher? Unfortunately, I've heard before, well, there's nothing I can do. There's no girls in the class. It's all males. But the truth is, there is something that you can do, and that is you can still teach the males in that class what is happening and inform them about the underrepresentation of females in the field, and have them acknowledge some of the women role models that have come in previous times. but also teaching them, how the culture is impacting the females around them, and teaching them about using inclusive language when they are working with their female counterparts. So that is just one that I would highlight. I saw that in the chat too, that was one experience, being in an all male class. There still is something to be experienced and learned in that scenario. Awesome. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Beryl to tell us a little bit about CSAwesome.
Great. Should I share my screen so I can? Thank you. Great. So CSAwesome, let me put it in a slideshow, is an ebook on the Runestone platform. And this was started by Barb Erickson, who's a professor in University of Michigan now. And and then I started working with Barb, and we expanded this curriculum into CSAwesome. This is a College Board-endorsed AP CSA curriculum, and the AP CSA course is in Java. It's also, CSAwesome is also a PD provider. It's available completely free, and it's a very interactive ebook that we're going to look at in a minute. And it's really designed to support all students in a transition from an earlier exam, CSP, into CSA, and hopefully keeping the field more diverse and encouraging girls and people who may be from a minority community to continue on in CS. We follow the units that are laid out by the College Board. And their lesson plans are also provided. And we have a really vibrant teaching community, Teaching CSAwesome forum, that Pauline can put the link for it in the chat. And if you request to join, we can approve you today, where teachers share their what they do in class, if they have any questions, because there are also lots of new teachers just starting to teach CSA, and they might not have the CS background. So they need a lot of support, and there's a lot of experienced and not so experienced teachers on this forum. And it's great to see the way they support one another. It's a great forum. Once you're in the forum, you have access to all the lesson plans. So let me click on this so you can see for each lesson in the ebook, we provide lesson plans for the student, for the teachers. That takes them through exactly what to do in each class period and how long it would take to do each activity, and then has some extra resources as well. So this first one, you can click on and explore. All the rest, you have to join the forum in order to see the rest of them, but they are all freely available. The solutions to the book are also freely available if you are part of this forum. And we always check to make sure that people are teachers. Runestone also has a growing library of ebooks, both in math and in CS. It just joined up with the math community. So if you're in the math community, please check that out as well. And if you're into other science communities and you've published before, or you're interested in writing textbooks, check out Runestone, because we would love to expand it more to all the sciences. Students can register to use it and register in a custom course that you create so that you can see their progress. And Runestone is a nonprofit, so donations are, wonderful, but it's also optional. So let's actually take a look at Unit 2. So I'm going to go to 2.1, and I will share this with you. If you click on the CSAwesome link at the top, here's Runestone. If you click on the CSAwesome link, you'll go back to all the units and you can explore any of the units. If you click on the Runestone icon, you can see, and then library, you can see all the other ebooks that are available in CSAwesome. And it's growing every day, and they're all free. So what's nice about Runestone and CSAwesome is that it's very, very interactive. So you can embed, exercises like this, videos, drag and drop exercises, multiple choice exercises. And what's really nice is that you can embed coding right into it. And this unit is supposed to introduce objects in Java, and we do it in a very creative way by playing around with turtles. And just like we set up the person in our introduction, where you wrote different behaviors like eat chocolate and work and so on, a turtle can have behaviors like moving forward, backwards, turn right, or turn left. It's a graphical turtle, as well as some attributes like its width and its height and its color and so on. And in this little program, we create a Yurtle turtle object, and then we give it commands. We call its behaviors like move forward, turn left, and go forward. So if I run this, you'll see that the code runs, and in the graphical environment, the turtle does exactly what you tell it to. So you can write more code here to make Yurtle go turn left again, for example, to try to complete the square. So this interactive environment really encourages students to work at their own pace. There are also drag and drop problems, which are called Parsons problems in computer science. And this helps newer students who are newer to coding, to explore the code and get some support. So here you can see, for example, one of these codes, the semicolon is missing, and that's a newbie mistake that you might miss, that you need to end it with a semicolon. So it lets them to choose the right one, and really cements in that they need that semicolon at the end, and to put it into order. So going back to our slides, one thing that we really encourage in coding is pair programming, where students work together. That collaboration is really known to encourage students who might not have as much of a background in coding, and especially girls in CS. And any kind of creativity, drawing out, things like that also draws in students. So one of the challenges, for example, we have is to draw a snowflake with the turtle. We have another challenge where you can create a house for your turtle with the turtle, drawing that. So I'll share this link with you. How are we doing on time? Oh, good. We still have some time. And you can work together or work alone to try to create a turtle. So if you know, to try to create a snowflake with your turtle, and this one you need to just write the code from scratch. But if you scroll up to the one right before it, actually, and run this code, you'll see that the snowflake is started for you. And here's the turtle drawing a square, and then moving a little bit, and then drawing another square. And this is how it's building the turtle using loops. But you can see it stopped too soon. And this unit introduces loops, and this is a for loop in Java. And you can see that here's the outer loop that runs 5 times, and it draws 5 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. But it stopped too soon. So the challenge is to try to increase this number to get it to go all the way around. And then inside we have an inner loop that actually draws a square. So each square is just going up, turn right, go forward, turn right, go forward, turn right 4 times. And that draws each side of the square. So we now invite you to investigate here. So change this number and run it again to try to get your snowflake to go all the way around. And the link for this is in the chat. In class, to encourage girls and all the students, you would pair them up so that they explore together, they can talk about the code, and really reflect on what they're doing.
If you're writing the code, you might.
Also notice that right after it, we try to auto grade the code and give the students some feedback. So this kind of scaffolded learning also really helps students. So for mine, it says I failed one of the tests because the number of iterations to complete the snowflake wasn't right. So I put in 5, that wasn't correct. So I need to try a different number there.
No pressure, but if one of you would like to share your screen and talk it out, I think we're a small enough group that we could do that as well.
Has anyone tried a number?
Number that worked.
Or a number that didn't work?
Yeah, I think for the purpose of the recording, I'm going to share my screen again because we are still recording. And we saw Beryl explain with this one in particular that it was only running 5 times and wasn't doing enough. So are there any suggestions on how we might modify this to be able to draw more squares?
I'm calling to try and.
Number, put it in chat. And she can change the code.
So right now there's only 5. Any thoughts on how many we might need? It's okay to not have the right answer.
Yeah, a lot of coding is just trial and error. And I always tell my students it's about persistence. You know, it's nobody gets it right the first time.
I actually don't remember how
Many, you can figure it out through math because it's 360 degrees all the way around. But it kind of looks like we're halfway there, right?
So I chose to change the 5. This is the outer loop, as Beryl was saying, there was a 5 there. That's what was causing the 5 squares. So I can change my 5, and Beryl's saying about halfway. So if we're working this out together, I would say, okay, maybe we can change the 5 to a 10, which is what I did. Made one little change, one single change, and I can run it and save it again to see what my change is going to do. The anticipation is great.
I know students get very excited. They're like, is it gonna make it? You can speed up the turtle if you don't want to wait, but I kind of like watching it.
Oh,
Almost. Almost. Yeah. So probably maybe another 2 times around and it would have completed it. And it's okay to overshoot. It'll just go over those anyway.
Yes. So another thing I think is really cool to see if you're new to Java is you could change the color too. So I believe like if I wanted to do red, I could change my color of my line to say red, and that would change it too. So just to make it a little bit more personal, it's something you could do. So I'm going to save and run. Take a while. Here we go. Hey, it's red. Yay.
Blanca shared a nice story in the chat of what she does in her classroom.
Awesome. All right, I'll read it out loud for the recording. So I know this is late, but I thought I'd share strategy for an all-male class. Okay. And in my all-male class, I talked to my students and found out that many of them were in a single parent home where they've been being raised by a grandmother, aunt, or mom. So we would talk about what kind of difficulties the female in their life encounters. That led to many meaningful discussions, including how there are low numbers of women in STEM and other topics. Just a suggestion. Yeah, great suggestion. Awesome. So I think even with 12, that didn't quite get there, right? It looks like there's a couple missing, but got really close. But little changes like that you can do to the code. Another question a student might have is like, why does it have to be squares? Can I change it? Can I do something else, a different shape in my snowflake, right? The really nice thing, in my opinion, of CSAwesome is you can go in and change it right there. In the ebook, this is all in the browser. They're seeing the changes, running the changes. As an instructor, you can see the students' work and monitor their progress and give them feedback through the instructor dashboard as well, which goes back to like, how are you grading students, right? Are you grading them solely on having done the code a certain way and programmed it a certain way, or does it matter that they have completed the challenge successfully in some way, shape, or form? Are you giving them adequate feedback? Are you giving them encouragement in the feedback that you are giving them? But also, what experiences are they getting out of using the book? So are you having them pair program? Are they working with each other to complete the task? Are they feeling like they can talk about the struggles that they're having and ask for help? Building that environment with them. A question we had in the chat: I don't have a CS background, but I would like to offer programming in my summer camp. How should I go about this? I see Beryl answered, there's lots of free curriculum on Runestone. There's Runestone, there's mobile, there's Runestone ebooks, there's the center has curriculum too. We have CSAwesome, we have mobile CSP, Beryl mentioned code.org. Yes, it is CS Education Week as well. This is a great week to get access to the resources. You could visit csedweek.org to see a lot of the offerings that are available. We got the Hour of Code with code.org. The Hour of AI for Artificial Intelligence is happening as well right now. So this is a great week if you're interested in finding resources. Thank you, Beryl, for putting that in the chat. There's a lot of free resources out there, free curricula that you can use. And I think it's great that many of them are available under like a Creative Commons license where you can use the materials and get access.
Pauline, I think we're out of time if you want to just wrap up.
Yeah, sure. All right, back. So thank you to everyone for participating and joining us today. And just saying here and tying it back to the beginning, that CSAwesome is great for supporting girls in learning Java with the challenges, the scaffolding, the collaboration, as you saw, encouraging growth mindset. We're connecting some of the content to community and real world problems and personalized experiences, and the equitable grading as well. So there's lots there. We would love to connect with you outside of this as well. Feel free to contact us. There's more opportunities in the slides if you want to take a look at the opportunities for students that are available, and extra support and resources, as well as opportunities in professional development for teachers. So I'm happy to chat with you all about that. And thank you again. Feel free to reach out via email as well at CSAwesome@css.edu. Thanks, everyone.